Hi guys, welcome back to Flo's channel. So today it's a bit of a switch up video. I hope you enjoy it. Today we're gonna have a couple of people in this video, but today's do macaws bite and does it hurt and what causes the biting? So I've asked a couple of people with all their social medias and all that at the start of their video. Thank you everyone for participating in this video. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, so the first person to answer the questions is going to be me. So have I ever got bitten by Flo? Yes, I have. Does it hurt? Really bad. I don't think I've taken a really bad bite yet. She bit me on my thumb and did really hurt. It made me bleed. It wasn't like a proper like bad bite. It was just like a quick nip and then off you go. I was in the car going to my nan's at night time. I didn't call Flo, I didn't say step up, but it was like really dark, so I'm guessing she didn't know who I was at then. She was on my dad's shoulder and I was like, quick, it's my fault. I quickly rushed my hand to her and then didn't say anything, didn't say Flo. She didn't recognise it was me. It was all in the dark, so she's probably like, oh, who's this touching me? She latched on. So yeah, that was a bad bite for me, but I'm guessing I'm gonna get more worse bites. First people, well the second people, Shelby the Blue and Gold Macaw. All their social medias are gonna pop up on the screen. All the social medias are gonna be in the description anyway. Shelby the Macaw.
Hello everyone, I'm Carly, this is Shelby, and we're from the Shelby The Macaw YouTube and Instagram pages. Thank you Flo and Hayley for having us. Our discussion on biting really revolves around our own experiences and a few facts about biting. And our first fact, which is really quite unbelievable, is that a macaw's bite is the equivalent in strength as a Rottweiler. A Rottweiler dog. Now they're not small dogs, they're very large dogs, quite intimidating if you don't know them. To think that her bite and all of our macaw's bites can be equivalent to a Rottweiler is quite intimidating and quite worrying. The other fact I really want to touch on, and I think other people should know about, is the fact that biting in macaws is a learnt behaviour. It's actually a behaviour that they learn from us as humans. In the wild, macaws and other birds, they don't bite. They are flight animals. We all have a natural fight or flight response. We get the word flight in those responses from birds because their natural response to danger is to fly away, not to fight it. Believe it or not, birds don't actually ever want to get into a fight. They don't ever want to confront their predators. They want to fly away from them. Actually, biting is a learned behaviour. It's something they learn from us as humans, which means that in some way, if you have a biting bird, you are rewarding that behaviour because you're giving them something that they want. If they're biting your hand to get your hand away from a certain position, then you're moving your hand away as a result of the bite, so they're getting what they want, and it teaches them. It's an instant learning curve for them. They instantly know that, oh, I've bitten, they've done what I want them to do as a result of that bite, I'll do that again. So it is very difficult to not react to a bite. It's difficult to not respond at all, but that is really the advice that we should be giving people, is that biting should not be rewarded in any way with any sort of reaction. I will relive a little story about Shelby and a time she bit me. I'm not really sure what encouraged it, but she was sitting playing with me just like this, and she was on my chest and she was a bit excitable and a bit in a really playful mood, and she bit my chest, my skin on my chest, and pinched it. And at first I thought, don't react, and then after about 5 seconds she was biting harder and harder. Remember Rottweiler? And it got to the point where I started crying. It was so bad, and I went, Shelby, get off, you're gonna go through. And I genuinely thought she was gonna go directly through my skin and her beak was going to meet itself, and that was here on my chest. That was completely awful. I don't know what instigated it. I try not to encourage biting behaviour and I try not to respond to it, but I obviously did something on that occasion to encourage it and to make her think that that was okay. Yeah, it wasn't a pleasant experience. It wasn't something I wish to relive. Thankfully, Shelby is not a bitey bird. I've always sort of been aware of the fact that biting is encouraged by us and it's a learnt human behaviour, so I've always tried to steer clear of anything that could result in biting, and so she's not actually a bitey bird, which is a good thing. And it is possible for you and your birds too. Thank you very much for allowing us to be in your channel, Kaylee and Flo.
Thank you so much, Shelby the Macaw, and your family. Really appreciate you joining in with this video. So the third people now is Rio the Blue and Gold Macaw, and his owner is Matt, and the social medias are here on the screen right now.
So, do macaws bite? Well, they can, they do, and they will. Sometimes they can just be playful, can't they, Rio? Sometimes when they get a little bit too excited, they can start to be a bit nippy. Sometimes it hurts more than others. It just depends on what kind of mood they're in, really. I usually find with this guy, Rio's 2 years old, he can get a little bit excited, and when he does, he has been known to give me a little nip. I don't take it too personally though. That's just partly how they behave. One thing he's never done is bit me very hard. Not really hard. He's never broken the skin. He's never made me bleed. But that doesn't mean to say that he never will. He may occasionally. Now, generally, if he does give me a little nip, what I will do is I will just tell him no. I'll try not to respond too negatively towards it. Or sometimes I'll just tell him a little no, or I'll sort of give his beak a little shake and tell him he's been a little bit rough. If you are unlucky enough to take a very bad bite from a macaw, and sometimes they can break the skin, they'll draw blood, and they will leave a really nasty bruise. Now, I look after a lot of birds in a rescue that need a lot of care. They have in the past bitten quite hard, you know. As with any animal, you should always treat them with care and respect, and if they ever feel threatened or scared, especially macaws, they may feel like they want to give a nip for whatever reason. But if you do get bitten, it can be very painful. There's a lot of pounds of pressure in this beak, and they can do a lot of damage. But just be respectful, understand the boundaries, and you should be fine. All part of training and hand manners. It's not right, Rio?
Thank you so much for participating in this video, Rio and Matt. Next is Mikey and Mia from the Mikey Mia and Friends. Let's hand it to Mikey and Mia.
Hello Flo With Us fans, Mikey the Macaw and Friends here, and thank you for welcoming us to the Flo Show. Now, the question you are all dying to know, do macaws bite and does it hurt? Well, yes and yes. Now, macaws won't just bite for no reason at all. If you do have macaws as pets, over time you actually get to learn and understand their behavior, so you'll probably see a bite coming just from the way their body language is. In the past, I haven't actually been so lucky with that. I have been bitten multiple times by multiple different birds. Now, these bites actually vary between 500 to 2,000 psi. That is pounds per square inch, and that is a ridiculous amount of pressure. Greenwing bites are probably the worst. They're a lot different to blue and gold bites. Now, if you don't know the bird and you don't understand their body language, just like I have been in the past with other birds, such as Iago, greenwing bites, absolutely horrible. Those things are crazy. And other random greenwing bites. The thing is about a greenwing bite, it's slightly different to a blue and gold, where a blue and gold, when they bite, they're very, very precise. They'll literally find a point in you and they'll chomp down, and their beaks are not only very powerful but very sharp as well. So they'll basically find a point and they will grab it and they will twist, and it's very, very painful. Where a greenwing, it kind of feels like your arm's getting slammed in a door. It's just absolute pressure and power. Not so much sharpness, but it is going to leave a massive, massive bruise. We don't actually get bitten too much by our guys, which is great, as we have come to learn and understand their behavior and their personalities. But if we do decide to annoy them, I mean, if they are having a nice little preening session and just cuddling and they're tired, and we decide just to go stick our fingers in their faces, they're not going to be happy. Now, there is two types of bites these guys will do. The get away from me bite, where they're basically just going to nip at you to a point where it does hurt, but not too badly, and that's just get away from me, I don't want you in my area. And then there's the really, really bad bites, which where a bird is hormonal or disorientated or just very, very, very angry, and those things there are going to draw blood. We've had a decent amount of blood drawn from us back in the days, and we have learned from that to respect that beak. It is absolutely no joke. There is obviously a bunch of things you can do to avoid getting bitten. Usually birds will show you if they are going to be pretty aggressive towards you. They'll start lunging out. If you don't back away and if you keep provoking them, they are going to bite you even more, and it's not going to feel good. Or if you have them on a very sugary diet, a lot of fruit, minimal veg kind of stuff, they are going to have a lot of energy. Our guys free fly every single day, so they get all their energy out by flying, so they don't feel too cooped up or frustrated. So they're generally pretty good. Apart from Mia. Mia doesn't really like me too much. She'll always try and bite me. But again, those are little get away from me bites. I can tolerate them, but they're still not nice. But if anyone out there was wondering, do macaws bite and do they hurt? Yes, they definitely do. Bye-bye!
Thank you so much, Mikey and Mia, for being in this video. I really appreciate it. Yes, thank you. Next is Wayne, the Greenwing Macaw, with his own Yazzie.
Hi guys, Gotham City Parrots here. I'm here with Wayne and Quinn. Wayne and Quinn are both a year old now, only just. Wayne is a big baby, so personally I haven't had any bites from him. Not very hard. He's given me a few nips, but they've never really broken the skin. I have, however, taken a bite from my friend's macaw, Jackal. You see that nasty little scar there? Looks like a massive cigarette burn where he bit me. He went straight through. And it took a long time to heal. It took weeks to heal, that did. Probably one of the longest wounds I've had. So macaws can bite between 300 psi to 450 psi from what I've heard, which is harder than most dogs can bite. Macaws only really bite if you annoy them. They give plenty of warnings if they're gonna bite. If you ignore the warnings that they're gonna bite you, then that's where they follow through and will bite you. They eventually learn to not bother with the warnings and they just bite with very few warnings too, because they learn that you just ignore them. So I listen to them. If they're gonna bite me, I'll leave them alone. Wayne very rarely chooses to bite over doing something with me, but he always has the choice. I won't make him do anything. This is where permission-based training comes in. If you use permission-based training, you're much less likely to get bitten.
Thank you so much for being in this video, I really appreciate it. And let's go on to the next one. Next is Safi the Greenwing Macaw. Thank you so much for being in this video, I really appreciate all you guys for literally participating in this video. Safi, take it on.
Hi guys, Katie and Safi here. Just a little chat about biting. Safi's only probably caught me about twice where it's really hurt, like a throbbing finger. And both times I've been wearing gloves, so I'm assuming she doesn't realise my fingers are through the gloves. A few times she's given me like a little warning nip. It's been nothing major. It's just about reading your parrot's body language when they're upset, when they've had enough. I mean, she does get tired, and when she's tired she does get a little bit grumpy. It's just about learning your bird's body language and preventing the bite, because these birds do have big beaks. It hurts when they bite. I'm sure at some point she will bite me hard. And also when she's excited, sometimes she'll play and she'll get really rough. Learn your parrot's body languages and don't push them too much. Bye.
Thank you Safi and Katie for being in this video, and let's move on to the next one. So now we have Robert, which has 4 macaws: Chiku the Harlequin Macaw, Leo the Greenwing Macaw, Storm the Blue and Gold Macaw, Maddie the Greenwing Macaw. And here is his part of the video. Thank you so much for joining.
Hey everyone, how you doing? So I'm Robert and this is Leo, my beautiful Greenwing Macaw. Kaylee's asked me to jump on this video today just to talk to you guys a little bit about biting. The questions she's asked me to answer are, have I been bitten? Well, quick and easy one, yes I have. And does it hurt? Well, absolutely. Have you seen that beak? I'm lucky enough that I haven't really had one really go for it yet, because I can imagine if they did, it would hurt a heck of a lot more than what it did when I was actually bitten. But you learn how to handle these animals, you know, like you've got to be patient with them, you've got to respect them, you've got to give them their time, and they'll get used to you and they'll grow to love you just as much as you love them. You know, you can really develop quite a unique bond with these creatures, and you know, if you've never had one or you've never been around one, it's astonishing just how wonderful they really are. You know, you have, like I said, you have to be careful. So in order to avoid being bitten, just give them their time, give them their space, train them well, spend a lot of time with them, let them get used to you. You know, you'll realise, you know, the way that they behave and whether or not they're a bit snappy one day, a little bit angsty, or whether they really want to be playful and be like fun little puppies like they can be sometimes. I mean, Leo here's a little softie, as you can see. So be careful with them. Stay away from this bit, especially if you don't know the bird, because, as I say, it does hurt. And just enjoy them, because they're wonderful and really cute and unique and funny as well at the same time. So I hope that helped. That's my little add-on for Kaylee's video, and thank you for letting me be a part of it. I hope you guys enjoy your birds, enjoy watching the video, and just have a good day, really. So I'll catch up with you guys soon. See you later.
Thank you so much for being in this video, I really appreciate it, and let's move on to the next one. Next is the hat boy, if you can guess who that is. Iago the Greenwing Macaw. Thank you Iago and Rachel for being in this video.
Hi, I am Rachel and this is my Greenwing Macaw, Iago. And I've been asked by Kaylee to answer some questions about macaw biting. So should we do that? Yes. The first question is, have I ever been bitten? The short answer is yes. Quite a lot of times actually over the nearly 7 years I've owned him. Most of the time it really does hurt. It hurts quite a lot. Imagine that if you can do this to a piece of wood, split completely in half. If you can do that to a piece of wood, imagine what he can do to your fingers and your skin. It really does hurt. The next question is, the causes of biting. So what causes it? It's really difficult, I think, with birds to determine what causes biting, but I think most of it, from my experience anyway, it's all been my fault. Every time he's bitten me, I've either got too close to him in his personal space when he's clearly given me some sort of indication not to be in his space, or any other time I have probably read his body language wrong, and it has been mostly my fault. The only other time he's ever bitten me is when he gets overexcited. So we're playing with toys and stuff, he'll get overexcited, and by that time playtime is over. I've clearly overstimulated him. It's been a little bit too much for him, and he's obviously bitten in frustration of that. Frustrated that, you know, he got a tail. Hello? Iago, your tail's in the way. Dude! Move! Iago, move! So the only other time I can think of where he has bitten me is during the hormonal season. So during that time of year, he will have all of these emotions and all of these hormones like raging, and he won't really know where to put all of that energy. And if I make the wrong move and slip up, I will get bitten. I think overall, in owning a macaw or any type of parrot, I think it's when you get bit, not if. I mean, you can't do everything right 100% of the time. And I know this especially because I'm still learning. Over 7 years of having Iago, I am still learning, and I am still getting those odd sort of bites to tell me, hey, you're doing something wrong, or hey, I need to be left alone, and hey, can we do something else, or can we try training a different way? But yeah, it's definitely something you have to consider if you're looking to own a bird like this. But I think with a lot of perseverance, a lot of good training, a lot of plasters, you can definitely overcome the whole fear of a parrot biting you. It's something that I really struggled with. Are you going to be here annoying me the entire time? There was this time around Christmas time where I took Iago to a bit of a free flight event with all of my friends from Instagram. You guys will know what I'm talking about if you're watching this. I brought him to a new place. He's completely bewildered. He's been in the car for like 2 hours. He's really not in it. He's not comfortable. I should have known better than to have him anywhere near me. I should have just let him settle. I had him way too close to my face, and he lashed out and he grabbed my lip and would not let go. He ended up putting a great big hole on the other side, so the inside of my lip, and that was it. Yeah, it was completely my fault. He was way too, like, he was fearful, he was frustrated, he was confused, he was in a brand new place, and I was just fussing over him, and there was other people there too, so he wouldn't have been super comfortable with them. But yeah, that was something that really hurt. That really hurt. I think that was pretty much the worst bite he's ever given me, where he's sort of broken skin and there was loads of blood, and I didn't take any pictures because it was super gross. You don't want to know about it. Thanks guys, bye.
Thank you for being in this video. Tail. Hello. Let's move on to the next macaw. Next one is Paws, Claws and Feathers. Thank you for being in this video. They have a miniature macaw and just got a blue and gold macaw about, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago.
Hi guys, Paws, Claws and Feathers here, and yes, we love to slide into the shots. Now, thank you so much for having us in this video, Kaylee. We love to be in it. We got asked, do macaws bite? Why do macaws bite? And does it hurt? And well, to answer the first question, do macaws bite? All birds bite. Like, you're gonna get a bird, you're gonna get bit. It might be due to hormones, it might be due to you reading body language wrong, it might just be that the bird is grumpy that day, but you are going to get bit. Now, with Carlos over there, who is a little bit grumpy right now, I've been very fortunate. I have only had one bit of a nastier nip where she tried to grab onto my hand and I got a fright and I yanked down and she fell. And sadly, that was my error, but due to that, she didn't want to step up onto me anymore. She held a grudge. And that nip, yes, it hurt, but I think that was more me being scared because the first time a macaw grabbed hold of me like that. So you can see the big beaks on those guys. I'm more used to cockatiels if you've seen my stuff. Yeah, that was a bit scary. Now, Nash here, my partner, has been bitten a lot worse than I have. Actually has a wound on the hand right now. There you go, guys. Yeah, battle wounds. Fun. So, you know, Nash has been bitten a lot more than I have, just because Nash handles Carlos a lot more. And just because Nash has been bitten a lot doesn't mean that Carlos is a bad bird. Carlos has had an interesting past, we'll say. She's not had the greatest start to life and therefore doesn't understand her own bite strength. Now, that caused some issues when we were all getting to know each other at first, and I kind of stayed out of that more That was Nash's job, so take it away.
So when we first got Corliss, she really wasn't very confident at all. She didn't understand her own bite strength. She used her beak a lot when stepping up, which at the time I encouraged, and I didn't quite realise that that was a fairly big mistake that I made. By encouraging her to step up with her beak, I encouraged biting without realising it. There was one specific time that I remember very well when she actually bit hard enough for me to think my finger was broken. What happened was, it was close to bedtime, I asked her to step up and she just simply didn't want to. Because of that bite, I actually had to go to A&E to check if my finger was broken or not. Luckily it wasn't broken, I've just got permanent nerve damage from it, but it's fine.
Now, why do these birds bite? So as I said previously, Corliss had a little bit of a bad past. She just never learned her bite strength. Like, she didn't understand respect. As you guys can see, we've also got a blue and gold here, which nobody's seen on our channel yet because we actually just adopted her today. So we haven't had the chance to be bitten yet. So far, so good. She's been great. I can guarantee you she will bite us one day, and it'll be very soon probably. So why does Corliss specifically bite? As I said earlier, Corliss had a bit of a bad past and she never learned bite strength. And that's not really her fault. That should have been something taught by her first owners, and it should have been something that should have been discouraged, but sadly it wasn't. So now we're left trying to fix all that. Do macaw bites hurt? Nash here has been bitten by Corliss and Mikey the Macaw and Iago the Macaw. It sounds really bad. Get yourself a record here.
I've had my share of bites.
Not because those birds are bad, it's just in that moment there was misunderstood information, I guess. So Nash, do macaw bites hurt?
Imagine your hand or finger or whatever the bird bites getting trapped in a fire door in slow motion and you can't get out of it. It's not pleasant.
Yeah, it doesn't sound it. Cockatoo bites are better. I think I'll stick to those. See yas.
I very appreciate you being in our video, Paws and Feathers. Let's move on to the next macaws. Okay, so the next one, she actually has a cockatoo, umbrella cockatoo. I think it's an umbrella cockatoo. Well, you'll see in the video anyway. She has a cockatoo, which is not a macaw, but I guess he can get away with it. But she has got bitten. She'll show clips in her video. Take it away.
Have I been bitten by my cockatoo before? Yes. Now, this is not the cockatoo in question. You guys probably know that I have Havoc, who's my 15-year-old lesser sulfur-crested cockatoo, whom I got out of a very neglectful situation. So on top of being one of the cockatoo species which is more known for hormonal aggression, just being a bit unpredictable, high-key, easily overstimulated, things like that, anytime you're working with a bird that has come from a situation where they're confined without much stimulation or enrichment, they're not really going to have social skills. They're not going to really know how to control their behavior. I believe one of the first times he bit me was I had him on the back of my chair while I was paying attention to something on my computer, which I would never do now. He tends to fixate very heavily on me and wants my attention. So he bit the back of my neck, and it hurt a whole lot. It really, really hurt. And he doesn't even really have that big of a beak as far as cockatoos go. I have a friend who recently rescued an adult male Moluccan, and it was a similar situation where, you know, he didn't have any social skills, he didn't know how to control his behavior. This Moluccan really bit her. The other times Havoc has bitten me were during hormonal episodes. And actually, 2 of those times were when I was trying to record a video of me training him, and because I wanted to get that video recorded so badly, I kind of brushed aside the warning signs and was like, let's see where it goes. And inevitably, he flew at me. I put my arm up to block him, and then he bit me in mid-air. Even those times, I've gotten bruises just from him biting me mid-air where he doesn't have a lot of purchase, and it's through my hoodie sleeve. So those beaks are very, very powerful. What I wanted people to take away from this video is that as a trainer, your goal really should be to avoid being bitten at all costs. If a bird kind of gets into the habit of biting and they respond to certain things habitually with biting, then that biting behavior is going to be a lot harder to eliminate in the future. You want to take the preventative measures, kind of arrange conditions so that you are heavily minimizing the chances that you will be bitten. Don't listen to the old school bird people with 100 scars on their arm that say you just have to push into the bird until they get the picture. That bird is just learning, one, that they have no choice, and it actually encourages them to keep trying to bite even harder because, hey, the warning level bite didn't work, now let me go even harder. What are you annoyed about? Thank you guys so much for listening to what I had to say on this topic. I really appreciate it. What's wrong? What did you do?
Thank you for being on our video. Let's move on to the next people. Okay, so next one is Rocket the Blue and Gold Macaw. Thank you for participating, and yes, here is Rocket the Blue and Gold Macaw.
So let's talk about macaw bites. You get bites and you get bites and you get actual bites. I've taken more real bites than anyone I know because macaw owners don't really get bitten as such. I've taken macaw bites on account of the fact that I worked at a macaw rescue center, not as a bird owner. As a bird owner, the type of things that you might mistakenly call a bite is where you've got a warning nip or a warning squeeze or something of that degree, and the kind that usually you've cut yourself on your bird's beak when it's just grabbed you. Bird will always give you body language cues if you're doing something that the bird doesn't like. It will tell you in some way physically. It'll open its beak at you and sort of duck down, back off, move away from you, something like that. But some people are just dumb. They don't read the cues, or they don't want to read the cues, or they try and push it. The macaws are kind of like cats. You can go up to a dog and be affectionate, and a dog will, you can almost force affection on a dog. You can't with a cat. You're going to get scratched. And it's exactly the same with a macaw, except scratch is going to be a bite, and a bite could be serious if you push it too hard. Nonetheless, generally speaking, as a macaw owner, the type of bite that you might experience is when, for example, the other day I was preening Rocket on the bed for the best part of about 2 hours. His pin feathers on the top of his head. And he was absolutely loving it, like eyes rolling back in his head kind of thing. But for about a half an hour, he was not okay because he was still having a little bit of a hyper moment. He hadn't quite settled into me being with him on the bed yet. And I tried to go in on his head a few times, and he just grabbed me. He didn't bite at all. He didn't even squeeze. He just literally goes, he makes this funny noise, and grabs me with his beak. Now, if I react, he's got the sharp bit of his beak against my skin, but he's just very gently holding me, just saying, no, I'm not okay with this, back off. If I react and I move, I've scraped my skin against a razor sharp part of his beak. I've cut myself. I might call that a bite, but I can assure you that's not a bite at all. I cut myself on my bird's beak. The other type of warning bite that you might receive is sort of a squeeze. For example, Christmas time, I spent some time with Iago The Macaw. Wonderful bird, absolutely love the guy. But I got a little bit cocky. It was Christmas, I'd had a drink or two, and I was just sort of walking past him, and I went to sort of scratch him on top of his head. I was like, hey Iago, and I put my hand probably just too quickly. He had no time to read my intentions. He thought I might be some sort of a threat. I don't know. I put my hand too quickly across over his head, like a lot of people do by accident. He, in an instant, just ducked off and then grabbed me with his beak. But he's a Greenwing, right? Greenwings are much bigger than blue and golds. They're the second largest of the macaws. He's got a much more powerful beak, much bigger beak, and he managed to wrap his beak around my entire hand, my whole palm. That little muscly bit, that thing that controls your thumb, was out of action for a week. I was trying to peel potatoes, I couldn't even hold them. My whole hand went a version of black and blue. It was beyond blue. It was like a real welt of a bruise. And that was just a warning squeeze. That was just Iago going, oi mate, not cool with this. And he just a very quick, it lasted about a half a second, but he squeezed hard. And he didn't intend to cut me. There's different kinds of bites. They will bite with the tips of their beak if they want to really bite you and cut you. If they want to warn you, they tend to just give you a bit of a squeeze like that. Now, if you have a look at the anatomy of a macaw's beak, I can't show you now because Rocket's flying over there with the crows right now. Rocket the crow chaser. Everybody said you got to watch out for crow chasers. No man, he chases the crows. Hey, good boy. If you look at the anatomy of his beak, you'll notice that the front beak is sort of flat. It's just a flat object onto which the bottom scrapey bit, like a gouge, sort of makes contact. Now that bottom bit is razor sharp. You can imagine taking a dessert spoon, cutting the end off flat and sharpening it right up. That's kind of what you're looking at with a macaw's beak. And if it wants to really bite you, it will bury that whole gouge right into your flesh. Wherever the hell it happens to be on your body, when they want to bite you, they'll just go for it. Take it easy, guys.
Thank you, Rocket the Macaw, for participating in this video. Now, I keep saying this bit. Let's move on to the next macaws. Okay, so next I think is a Catalina macaw, which is Halo the Macaw. Thank you for joining this video. Take it away, Halo the Macaw.
Hello everyone, I'm Emily and this is Halo from Halo the Macaw. Today we will be talking about biting. Birds usually bite from stress, anxiety and boredom. Now Halo has bitten me and it did hurt. However, this was on our first day when we were still getting to know each other. We can prevent biting by learning our bird's body language and using training to prevent occurrences of biting behaviour.
Thank you for being in this video, Halo. You're a very beautiful macaw. Let's move on to the next macaws. So this is the last macaw, which is a miniature macaw, Missy the miniature macaw. Thank you for participating. Take it away, Missy.
Hi, hello. We've been asked to say a few things about if parrots bite, if it hurts. And from my short experience with Missy, which is about couple of years now, I would say yes, parrots can bite. The reason why they bite varies, because sometimes they nibble you because they're trying to get your attention. Sometimes they don't want your attention, so they nibble you as well. That nibble is more like a gentle type of bite, you can say, when there is no real pain involved. It's more like discomfort. When they're spooked or when they're really upset, I know in Missy's case, she can bite very hard. I guess I was fortunate enough that she never actually managed to hurt any of us badly, but that's probably because we were quick enough. Most important thing I would say for anyone who has a parrot, whether it's a big parrot or a small parrots, the reason why they bite is not because they hate us, it's because they're trying to communicate something about how they feel, and we are not really listening. So they resort to a bit more aggressive approach in order to make it clear, I don't want that, or I want that, or I'm really annoyed with you. So it's kind of a thing that we need to learn to understand their body language, to understand their feelings, and to learn individually as well, especially with our own parrots, how do they express different feelings. And once we understand them and learn them and respect them, then we can have a very, very good life with our parrots.
That's a very cute video how Missy's just literally enjoying her scratch. Miniature macaws are like one of my favourite macaws. I don't know why, it's just something about them. I don't know if it's a red thing on here or their face. I have not got a clue. Thank you everyone for participating in this video. I really do appreciate it. I'm grateful for everyone who's watching this video right now. If you're not already, please subscribe to everyone's channels that they have. Whoever has the channel on this video, please subscribe to them, and also subscribe to Flo The Macaw's channel, which is this channel right here. Follow everyone's Instagrams, Flo's Instagrams, Facebooks. Follow all social medias, be in description. Like this video if you have, and if it's changed your mind on getting a macaw, the bites do hurt. Thank you for watching this video. Like, subscribe, and comment down below if you enjoyed this video. Peace.